Alright, everybody out there in the Craft Chest Nation, it is I, Craft Chest, here in the wonderful world of TERA. And let me tell you what, I have had a blast this past week. And I did a take of this earlier, and it went a little longer than I expected it to, as usual, because there's so much to talk about. And I actually made a really long highlight, or a segment of a highlight that I'm going to be doing on my Twitch channel. But I want to talk about this ninja class. I want to talk about the patch a little bit, the additions to the game that have made quality of life so much better. And en masse and TERA, the game itself, just keeps on outdoing themselves. As you can see right here, I'm on the flying mount. In my opinion, this is the best flying mount in the game. Now, this lion comes in about 20 different variations, color schemes, and what have you. There is the free mount that you can actually get for your level 65 quest that gives you that one as that person swoops in on me right here. They want to land up here, and I'm kind of cock blocking them. Let me stop that. But there's the flying mount. Let's talk about this flying mount for a moment. You know, this has made especially High Watch an awesome experience. Number one, just for the sheer beauty of seeing the world of High Watch and this whole area from the sky, and being able to actually explore and get up to places like I'm at right now. Number two, it cuts down on so much time getting from point A to point B in the game, in the areas, going from here to here, or going from here to your quest, or whatever, has just been so much better than having to run that path, or cross country, jumping, stumbling, and all that, or just running on your mount. It just freshens it up. And that's one thing that I never can say enough, is that en masse and TERA, the game itself, keeps it fresh. The game just keeps getting better, and it refreshes itself every time that they release content. And so far, all the content that they've released, I have really, really enjoyed. Now, I made it to level 65 tonight. As if anybody follows me on Twitter, you saw me post out the pics of the costume and weapon skin that they give you for doing the story quest and reaching level 65. And as you can see, it's the butterfly theme on this, and I really dig it. I like this theme for the ninja. You know, quiet like a butterfly. I don't know. That's just what it reminds me of. But I love the way that even the detail on the costumes matches, from the boots to the belt to the butterflies on the brooch part of it right here, the weapon skin. It's all an ensemble, and they gave it to me just for making it to level 65 and finishing the storyline quest. And the incentives that you get for actually doing certain things in the game are amazing. I mean, I've got a decked out character here ready to do dungeon runs now, albeit that mine's not crafted gear. It's just the O'Donnell, or however you want to pronounce it, set. And it's not plusable at all, but this is a good jump start for getting your dungeon drops and your crafting items and your crafting gear going for your plus 12, your plus 15, etc., etc. Plus all of the cruxes and crystals and, you know, your Zerk runes is what I call them, that they give you for finishing certain storylines, for doing certain things in the game. It just is very progressive and very engaging in that manner. The mount, though, check this mount out. Let's go up here and fly a little bit. This mount is absolutely awesome as far as being able to come up here, look around, and go, okay, I got to go over to this base right here. I got to go over to that base right there, and you can just fly straight to it from up here at High Watch. I don't even know if I can make it up here. I'll probably hit the ceiling, but let's try to make it up to the top of this. All right, land. Yeah, look at that. And now we're up here. Yeah. Now see, this one doesn't have the invisible wall. We actually sink down into it a little bit, but you know, it just keeps it fresh, and I love that aspect of this game. Look, I'm so far up, I'm in the clouds now. The ninja class itself, let's talk about this for a moment. This is the new DPS class that they released exactly a week ago, as a matter of fact, and I have had such a blast playing this character. More so, I believe, even than the gunner. I know more so than the brawler. Brawler is a good class. I enjoyed the brawler. Don't get me wrong, but that class made me feel a little bit of repetition. I could notice it. But with the ninja class being a close in and ranged DPSer, excuse me, I've been talking for like the past 12 hours. Today we did a 12-hour stream. Yesterday a 10-hour stream. The day before that a 14-hour stream. So my voice is kind of going. I'm going to have to give it a break. I think I'm going to take tomorrow off from streaming just to let that recover. But that's what that little gargle is right there. Smoke another one. But anyway, this being a DPS class, it's very nimble, very fluid. I don't see any clunkiness. Didn't feel any clunkiness, especially with this being the true action combat that it is. I didn't feel at any time myself, other than myself getting used to certain skills and being out of position, I didn't feel myself getting frustrated playing this character. And I know that that's one thing that I hear from people in person, in the chat, whenever we're talking about TERA and talking about classes, and the last time that they played, they always tell me, well, I didn't feel it. It seems like the character's movement was a little bit slow. Maybe I picked the wrong character. I haven't played it since, it went free to play. And, I just thought it would suck after that, because most games do. I can't even believe it's still around. You know the stories. But this one right here, this class outdoes all the rest of them. The Reaper is the only other character that has the deeps that this one does. Now, I know there's going to be a big argument about the Slayer and the Warrior and how well they can do, and even the Sorceress and all that, but they're all situational characters, in my opinion. I believe for a close-in combat, melee and ranged melee character, this one right here does an awesome job at what it's supposed to be doing. Plus, it has the nimbleness enough to be able to dodge, evade, and get out of the way, especially with, like, if you time out your shadow jump and your jagged path just right, you can avoid a lot of damage even from boss fights using those two skills properly. Plus, you have a lot of knockdown, you have a lot of knock up, like Impact Bomb is a knock up. What is it? Death Blossom is a like knockout, suck in type of thing, and it'll also stun them. There's a couple other different skills that you have. Oh yeah, here's one. Here's a pushback and bind. This is kind of like a root skill. This is right, Blade Storm. It works, is what I'm getting at. And if you have not played this game in a while, give the ninja class a try. I think you'll be pleased. A lot of people have asked me this past week, what do you think about some of the other characters? In my opinion, if you haven't played, the Gunner's a legit choice, a solid choice. The Brawler, I don't think the Brawler is as OP as people make it out to be. The Brawler is tough, but I think the Brawler is more loud than it is tough, because I have run a couple of dungeons this past week with people playing the Brawler, and maybe they weren't playing it properly. I don't know. Maybe they weren't getting their block right, or maybe they weren't, moving out of the way properly, or using their dash forward, or a bull rush, or anything. I don't know. Maybe they were doing it wrong. But I played with a couple of different ones, and they seem to have trouble more so than, say, the Berserker, or the Warrior, or even the Slayer that I've played with in the past. Slayer seemed to have some pretty good outs, especially when you get the cooldown on that little sword flip. I don't know what it's actually called. I have a Slayer. I don't know what the skill's called. But I've noticed that they have a lot less trouble being up close and in your face than most of the other characters. The Brawler's really not that OP. The Gunner is just the Gunner. What are you going to say? The Gunner is just the Gunner. That is an all-around character, solo specialist. Let me just put it like that. Yeah, they have to be in parties for 5-man dungeons, but, I've been playing for 5 hours. That's just the last time that I relogged. Oh, yeah, we've been in the game a long time, and we're going to log out here in a moment. But let's get back to the ninja class, all right? Playing this past week, I've noticed one thing. I've wanted to play. And it's hard to say that for a lot of games, because I have tried out all the new games this past year that everybody hyped up, everybody said was going to be the be-all, end-all, even the Blade and Soul, even the Black Deserts. And Black Desert's a fun game, but then I hear people talk about, well, what do you do in-game? Well, it's all about the PvP. What else? Well, you know, you got to get your gear right. Well, that's every game. You got to get your gear right, but what else? I mean, what keeps you engaged with the game? And nobody can give me a straight answer other than, well, you do PvP and you do your gear and you make money and you do your fishing and you do your crafting. I mean, that's every MMO. That's every MMO in existence. And one thing that I could say for this game is once you hit in-game, the game begins. Because not only do you work on your gear and getting your gear better, not only do you work on finding your crafting materials, that's the fun part to me. I wish this game actually did have fishing. I would never log out. That thing would pop up there with like hundreds of hours because the computer would just die before I logged out, or if the game just crashed, you know. But that's when the game starts. That's whenever you start making friends with people. Hey, you want to go run this dungeon? And you run the dungeon because it's fun. Hey, you want to go try this one? I haven't done that. This game has so many flipping dungeons in it now that you could never get bored doing it. Hey, if you might be that one person that does get bored doing dungeons. But I'm not really a dungeon running type of person. And TERA makes me want to do those dungeons just for the sake of doing them because they're fun. You know, they're challenging. They're not a give me, but they're doable. And I've been in games to where I've had some pretty damn good gear, and you go in there and you just get 1 shot, 3 shot, 2 skilled. It's like, what is going on here? What is this? And you have to have certain classes in certain games. You know, you got to have the tank. You got to have the healer. Well, in this game, if you know what you're doing and everybody gets in certain positions and pull aggro at certain times, you can actually lock down those bosses and lock down those groups because everybody plays a role. Even when you're in a dungeon with all 5 the same class, as we did yesterday with a party full of ninjas in the Labyrinth of TERA and in Sky Garden. And we actually did better with ninjas that have no healing power whatsoever than we did with a healer. The healer actually left. I was like, what is this? All you got to do is stand back, throw balls, and heal. That's all you got to do. We got this. Just stay out of the way. And they got mad and left. And I noticed that in the party with the ninjas, whenever we went through the Labyrinth of TERA, it wasn't all, you know, roses and sunshine in there. There was a time where 3 people went down and it was just 2 of us that was up. Well, that's whenever I said, uh-oh, what are they going to do? And I noticed the other person, they looked at me and they looked back at the person, and I was like, okay, I'll see what they're doing. So I pulled aggro on the boss and drug him away, and they resurrected that person. That person got up, popped some type of little pot that gave him a little bit of health, and then I drugged the boss and the ads the other way, and then that person got up and they resurrected the other person. So impressive. And you would think that we played together forever and nobody typed a word once. That's the type of players that we have in TERA versus a lot of other games. And that said, community. Okay, community is amazing in this game. Not one time have I wanted to put this game down and said, fuck it, I'm out of here. This game sucks. It's just too toxic. Never. Never have I ever had that happen. Because, you know, you need help with a dungeon. There's somebody going to want to run that dungeon with you, if nothing else, for certain drops that they're looking for. Not everybody is looking to get, you know, this particular piece of gear drop or that particular piece of gear drop, because it's all random. And there are some that have higher chances of dropping than others. You know, like jewelry. There are certain dungeons that certain pieces of jewelry have the highest chance of dropping. But it's not something that's going to lock it down to just a cleric, or just a reaper, or just a ninja, or just a slayer, and etc., etc. And the community understands this. And, you know, we're even nice in the fact that whenever we roll on something, it's like, hey, do you need that piece of gear? Because if it doesn't soul bind it, I have a character that could use it. And they go, yeah, go ahead, roll on it. Or they'll pass on it. Or I pass on stuff. I pass on stuff all the time. I'm like, I don't do warrior. I don't do the bow. It's just not a character that I have made, nor do I have interest in, so I just pass on it. Or I'll check out, you know, what are my boots right here? What is this right here? How much better, how much worse is it? And if it's a couple of hundred here or there, pass on it. Let them take it. because there are people out there. Here in High Watch tonight, I saw this person. I was like, man, this dude's all decked out. He's got the face paint. He's got the legit businessman suit and all this other stuff. I got to check this dude out. He was like sparkling. Like he looked like he was, you know, rock and roll Jesus or something. Action Jesus. There you go. And I opened it up and he had like white earrings, green earrings, a blue suit. And I'm like, what the? How did you even make it here? It's like you don't have unique piece number one. I think he had like unique boots and that was it from like Sinister Manor back at level 29. It was so funny, you know. So I don't know. I digress. I don't even know what I was talking about. But community is amazing in TERA compared to all the other MMOs I have ever played. You know, D2, yes, I consider it an MMO. Other than that game, this is the next best community that you will ever find in an MMO. And I'm going to actually get off of here and show you some of the colorfulness of this, because I'm so far up that it's actually got the clouds. And we're going to go out of the clouds so it'll turn green, because I know that looks probably shitty to everybody. So we'll land right here on this rock and let you look over High Watch like this. Actually, let's just go in town. Let's go in town, because this video, it could be as long as it needs to be. It's a... Hey, I'm a YouTube partner. I can have 10-hour videos if I want to. But as you can see, it's cleared out. Earlier, whenever I was here, there were hundreds of people coming here to do dungeons, coming here leveling. And it's calmed down a bunch now, because it was so many people right here about 2 hours ago. It was so laggy. There was just so many people. And here, somebody's got a buff bot over here. I guess they have a macro set up on their keyboards, on the thing I can figure. That's another thing. You know, you'll have clerics. They'll be around. Hey, can I get a buff? You know what I mean? And there you go. And, I mean, that's just an example. You can ask people that, and they don't have a problem doing it. That's my point. Not that I just asked that person, will they give me one? That ain't what went down right there. But the community is just amazing. I can't stress that enough, because I hear people all the time, especially on Black Desert. Every channel that I watch on there, they talk about how toxic that game is right now. And it just released. And I'm thinking to myself, that is not a good thing. If those people want to save that, they need to do something with that quick. Because there's another game that talked about how their players were ruining their game by being toxic, and they were going to take certain measures. And I'm like, when you hit that point, I think it's Arcade actually. Yeah, it was Arcade. I was like, that game's been destroyed for 2 years. I was like, it's time either to make a decision to start over and reset the servers and do it a different way, or just shut that game down, or just let it go. Just leave it alone, let it run itself, and devs just stay out of it. Because once you get to that point in an MMO where the community dictates terms on how people play, you're screwed. That's it. You know, once that community gets that to that level, you just will turn the servers off. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact. Look at Kairos. You know, look at Rosh. Look at that game. How many thousands of people played that game until that toxic level hit from those cash shop kids, you know. Just saying, it happens. It happens to the best of them. I've seen so many other games that I thought, hey man, that game's going to make it, and I want to play it, and then all of a sudden, whoa, what happened to it? It just came out 6 months ago. You know what I mean? I've never had that feeling from TERA, and that's my point. So there you go. And I'm going to end it there, because that's now probably a half-hour video. Here it is, an hour later from me trying to make this video. Ninja class, so fun. You know, hey, there's a Lancer. Lancers are fun too. I like my Lancer. I really do. I like the Lancer. I love all the characters, man. The only one I'm not digging, I haven't really played the bow that much. There's 3 classes I haven't played that much of. That one right back there, the warrior, the sorcerer, and the bow. I have not played that much. I'm sure the bow is actually fun because they're like ranged howitzer type of characters. Warriors are good too. I just don't understand how warriors work. I just don't have the patience for them. I guess, I don't know. But the ninja class is probably harder than that class, and I love it. Uh-oh. Hey, watch this, watch this, watch this. Let me show y'all something that's neat. Check this out. Can I do this? Let's see. F6. It's clone jutsu. That's awesome. Look at this. Clone jutsu, everybody. There you go. That's some fun things. See, it's fun. See, right there we just had, that's a perfect example. You can't do that in other games. Or can you? See? Clone jutsu. Oh yeah, it's a craft of the mind, everybody. Go out there and have some fun no matter what game you play, no matter what you do. Live well, play hard, and give thanks that you can. Woo! We'll see you later.